What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Tech Backstage. Actually, the only live show that we'll be recording this week. I've been traveling for the last week, but we'll be back next week with a full schedule. But this week, we got a really special guest. We got Ana Karen Olvera, who is the People Operations Manager for Development, our company. And so today, today we're going to have Ana Karen. She likes to go by Karen on the show, and we're going to be discussing some internal topics that are near and dear to our heart. Karen, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. Really excited to be here with you.
Yeah, excited to have you. I know you've been shadowing us on the podcast for the last few weeks, and we've just been looking for that opportunity to get you in. So here you are, and we're going to be talking about people operations today. But yeah, before we dive into that, why don't we talk a little bit about you? I'd love to hear, kind of your backstory, what made you get into human resources, and then eventually how you made your way to development.
Yeah, sure. I've been around 7 years in this career. I started really early on, and I was in a manufacturer environment. I've always liked to be around people, since I was a little kid. So I knew I wanted to do something where I had to be around a lot of people and really help them uh, to, just get their goals in life. And when I had the opportunity, I approached it. And well, it's a really difficult environment. I used to work 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. And then this pandemic came in and we didn't rest. We still had to go to office every day. We had a lot of difficult situations, and I was like, you know what, this is not what I want from me. And besides that, it's hard sometimes being in human resources. You see a lot of difficult stuff that's happening to people, and a lot of companies just see people as numbers. That's it. And I didn't like that. Everybody has something going in their life. Everyone has goals. Everyone has something else they're working for. So I wanted something more for my career, and I started looking into LinkedIn, and I saw that there were some people working remote, and I was like, hey, what's that? I'm coming 12 hours to an office and there's people working from home. Like, that was a whole new world for me. So I started to look into that opportunities, and well, that's how I got to development. I just sent my request, and it was a really challenging time for me. Even my family were like, are you sure this is a real work? You're gonna work from home? Are you gonna get paid? Are you sure just not getting, like spam? And it was a time in my life where I say, I want another challenge and I will take this opportunity and I will see what comes up. And well, here I am almost 1 year into development, and it has been one of the biggest challenges in my life, but it has been the best thing ever for me.
Awesome. I love that because I was talking to, I think right after you started, I think you hit on this, but I was talking to Adriana, our co-founder. And you're, for the people that aren't developers, Karen lives up by the border, close to Brownsville, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so close to Brownsville, like really manufacturing heavy city. And so there was like her family and friends were asking if it was just a scam or if we were even a payer, because there aren't remote positions up there. It's all very much on site, and you got to show up every day, and it's a lot of labor and manufacturing, and there's not a lot of remote positions. And so I kind of laughed at that. I mean, obviously remote work, I think for a lot of people is still a fairly new concept before the pandemic hit. But I think even more so in Mexico, right? Mexico is still very traditional in their ways of working, and especially when you find a position like that online, you're like, wait, what is this real? All right, I guess we're gonna give this a shot and see what happens. But yeah, like you said, you've been here a year now, and we are a real company, so that's cool. Uh,
You too, babe.
yeah, 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 and we do pay our bills, so that's cool. Um, all right, before we jump into the topic, though, I'd love to talk a little bit. because you came from a human resources background, and we don't call it human resources here; we call it people operations. And you were instrumental in helping us make that change. Me not being somebody who has an HR or people operations background, um, when we first started looking, we just, we put HR manager because we didn't really know any better. But I think you've been instrumental in guiding us towards people operations and the difference between people operations and human resources. But could you elaborate a little bit more on what people operations is versus human resources and why we choose to be people operations instead of HR?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I think because humans are not a resource, and we really want to treat everybody as people, and everything they do and everything they put into their work counts and means
Yep.
something, and we are like really people centric. And I mean, all of our collaborators, and we don't call them employees neither, because we like to think of us as a community, and we as a group, all of us are development and we all are the company. So that was the transition. We really want them to make feel like people. They have things going in their families too. I mean, we have people we have hired that were like, hey, I have to go for my daughter because my dad couldn't pick her up. Like, that's no problem. It's okay. You have a life. You can go live it, and you can find that balance between your life and your work, and there's no problem. We can help you to really grow in your career, grow in your personal space. And I think that's really important, not seeing just them as a number and you have to be here from 9 to 6 p.m. and do a job and that's it. No, we really care about you and we really want to see you growing.
Yeah. No, and I love that too. And like I said, when I first when we first started looking for somebody to help us with people operations, I'm just an engineer, so I didn't have any idea. But what you just said made so much sense to me because you're right. People, humans are not resources. They're not inventory that you keep on a shelf and you're like, oh, we got 12 of these. Great. What do we do with them? People are instrumental and they are the core of any company. And without good people, you don't have a good company. You don't have a good foundation. And so I loved when you guys started that initiative and we made that switch because I think it definitely goes along with our values as a company. Especially being empathetic towards one another, and helping people not just in their professional careers, but in their day to day lives as well. Right. I think that's instrumental. So I think that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about today. And what we're going to talk about today is a topic that you chose. I love the topic, but it's the impact of meaningful work, which is something that I think we take very seriously here. I think that was the show for Monday, Carlos. There we go. The topic is the impact of meaningful work and talking about why our developers, who are our collaborators, find their work meaningful and fulfilling. So let's kick that off. Let's talk a little bit about, let's start from the beginning, right? So somebody's coming into a company like development. And development, though we're multinational, we're in the US and Mexico, the majority of our collaborators, our developers, as we like to call them, are in Mexico. It's a completely new environment, right? It's not your traditional company in Mexico. We're kind of right at the forefront of what's happening with companies in our space right now. But walk us through a little bit, somebody coming out of a more traditional Mexican work environment, work culture, and coming into development. What does the people operations team do to make sure that the people that we're bringing in, our collaborators, are successful, you know coming into the company?
Yes, well, this is something we've been working really hard in our onboarding process because we found this, and it for a lot of us it was a first experience this kind of uh, work remote and in this kind of culture. So we found that it was really important to be with the new hires since the beginning. You put a lot of time and effort in a recruitment process, so we really want you to have success. So we will be with you. We will give you any tool you need. We will tell you about our culture. We will have onboarding with people, with engineering. We will get you a code body, something can be with you if you have any doubt. in the first month you're here, we will have sessions of follow-ups to tell you how you're doing, how we see your development, if there's are any opportunity areas that you can work with, and just really help you to get into this new culture and be successful in it.
Yeah, I love that. And y'all like basically run it like an agile process. I've seen the process workflow that you put together, but it's very much um, step one of the onboarding process. This is step two of the onboard. And you guys, you take it all the way back to even when we're sending out offers, don't you? Like you, I mean, like it's like you guys will send out the offer, it'll get signed. There's like automation built in to like move them into the people operations platform, and then it kind of kicks off a whole thing from there, right?
Yes, and we like to do the offers because we can talk with a new hire and just explain them the benefits of coming with us, and if they have any doubt, because always getting into a new job, it's a really big decision that you have to make, and you have to be really sure about it. So we will talk to you if you have any doubt, if you want to know about, I don't know, our vacations, about our hours or anything, we will be there. And then we will start, we will give everything to you, so the first day you don't have to be waiting there without anything to do. So you already have your credentials, you already have your first day agenda, you already know when your follow-up session will be. So you know what to expect from us, and we will tell you what we are expecting from you, so you know what you need to work in.
Very cool. No, I love that. I love watching the process as it happens because it's getting to be pretty efficient. You guys are moving over there in people operations. Talk to me a little bit about the people that you see coming into the company right now. What are the things that they're looking for when they're making a move to a company like development? I know we touched on a little bit earlier, just with like remote work as an example, but talk to me a little bit about some of the shifts that you've seen in the Mexican work culture and why people are choosing companies like development over more traditional companies.
Yeah, well, remote work is something really important, but something that has come to my attention is people want to grow. They want to grow their careers. They want to have courses. They want to have certifications. They don't want to be in the same position for another 10 years to be able to grow. So that's something that people really care about. They want to learn new things. They want to work with new technologies. They want to be in really challenging projects. And that's something they really put importance to.
Yeah, and I love that too, and I agree with that 100%. That's something that we put at the forefront of our people team is developing people's careers and giving them things to learn. And I think continuous education nowadays, especially, I mean, we're obviously a product and engineering services focused company, and for us, uh, I think ongoing learning isn't even it's not even like a desire, it's more like a requirement because the landscape's changing so fast that if you're not trying to learn something new, then there's the potential for us to become obsolete, right? And that's a really important thing, and I think that speaks volumes to the types of people that we have on our team. They're curious, they're motivated, they want to learn. They don't have to learn. They want to do it because it's something that they enjoy doing, which is a trait that I'm sure Adriana's probably tired of me saying this, but it's like engineering brain, right? It's you're always looking for the problem and you're always looking to solve the problems that you find, right? So I think that goes a long way towards um, not just advancing with us in your career, but advancing your own career, right? Um, so let's focus a little bit really quick on not just the self learning, not just the remote work, but I think another really important topic for us. Helping people find challenges within the company, right? Not just sticking them somewhere because that's where we need them, right? Talk to me a little bit about how we find the right fit for our people, between our people and our clients, and how that affects the work that our people do.
Yeah. Well, first of all, from all our collaborators. We have all their stack of technology. We really dive in there, like, what do you know? What have you been using? What do you have experience in? And then when another client comes in, I mean, this is part of sales department that help us giving us the requirements that the client is asking for. So we have this catalog with all of our devs, and we will look into them to see who really have that stack of technologies. Who some of them have I know, raise their hands that, I want another project, and when you have another project with this kind of technology, I would like to be in it. So we will just see if they have the right power skills. We will set these interviews with clients, because as much we want clients feeling comfortable with our devs, we want them from our devs too. If they really like the project, if they are really feeling comfortable with our clients, so we can do that match up. And I think that's important. That's something our people really like. That they have this possibility of say, what, I've been this time in this project, I really want a new challenge, I want to change, and they know we're gonna work on it.
Yeah, no, I love that too, and I think that that's a brings up a really good point that talking about everybody being a collaborator within the company. It's we expect to receive feedback from the people that work for the company, from our collaborators, and just like we expect to give feedback when the time's appropriate, right? And by having that open and honest relationship, somebody can come to us, and and just like this, like, anybody can ping me anytime they want to in Slack if they have a question, comment, concern. I'm always online with y'all, but we have that open door policy. So if somebody sees something, it's kind of an expectation that they say something, because if they don't say something, we can't fix a problem, or we can't, we don't know something's wrong if somebody doesn't bring it to our attention, right? So
Yeah, that's something that has been really important too, that feedback culture we have, because people have that freedom to come to us and say, you know what, in onboarding, when I had my onboarding, this was missing, I think you can do better. And that's how we are growing and how we are changing things, and getting better process. And I mean, all of our developers have that confidence. If they raise a hand and say a feedback, we're really gonna do something. It's not just something we're gonna leave sitting there. We're really gonna work on it.
yeah, I love that too. That just touching on what you just said, like, we don't ever say we're perfect, right? Like, we're not sitting here trying to, like, like, self promote ourselves because we think we're so awesome. We make mistakes every day. Heck, I'm probably like the leader of making mistakes in the company. I've made some real doozies this year. But it's not about what it's not about the issue or the problem, right? Because you're bound to fail at something. I do it almost on a daily basis. It's really easy. You just fall over. But it's what's important about it is getting back up and picking yourself up from that situation, from that failure, learning from it, iterating on that, improving, and then trying again, right? Um, so that's what the feedback's for. But it's also, like, I think it's unrealistic for people to think that they're going to come into a company and they feel like they're failing but nobody else is. Like, that's not true. Everybody fails. And just like you said, I think it's a really, really important point. Like, the reason that we continue to improve is because we get that feedback. Somebody goes through the onboarding, like you said, and they're like, hey, I didn't get this information. We're like, okay, cool, we'll make a point of that, we'll put it into our process. And that's how we get better as a team, and that's how we get better as a company. And especially for a company of our size, we're still a small business, so we rely on that feedback. We don't have some of the big monolithic, like, processes that large companies in our space have. We're very flexible, we're very agile, and so without and I think it's also important to note that the situations can change for us, right? Like, something that you did 6 months ago, that might not work anymore. And so we have to be agile enough to adapt to that. Um, so I think that's a really good point. And I think it also, I think it brings up a good point about the feedback. Talk to me a little bit about the benefits and how we handle that. Cause I think One of the things that we work on a lot is collaborator feedback on that.
Yes, we do our review and our benefits. At the beginning of the year, we wanted to have more things for our developers, not just the things we have by law. We want to be able to give more, but we didn't want just to give anything that we could think of, because I mean, I could give you a gym pass and maybe nobody's gonna use it. So we really want to know what our developers really wanted to see from us as a company, why they would like, if they will like a better, I don't know, medical insurance, if they will like limited courses, or anything. So we put these polls in place where they can tell you what they want to see from us. And then taking that in account, we will search for better options for everybody, and be able to do that. And we receive a lot of feedback. We have, as people operations, one-to-one sessions with everyone every 3 months, because we really want to know how they look the company going, where they like to be in another 6 months, and just take that in place. And so that way we can really plan our strategy for the next quarter or the next 6 months from the side of people operations.
Yeah, I love that. Excuse me, I got a little my throat got a little bit dry, so I had to drink some water there. So kind of like pawning it on to you for that question. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's one thing we do, the town halls every single month, and I think that's something that we all talk about is, and I think I probably say this more than I need to, but it's not. It's not a founders company. It's a company made up of the collaborators, and so we're trying to make sure that the people that are part of the team that make up the company have a decision and have a say in the direction that we take things. I think we use that simple poll app in Slack probably more than we need to, but it's productive, right? It's easy for us to figure out what people are looking for and what they need to feel successful and to feel like they're moving on up. And you know, I think even sometimes, like when we did that poll at the Posada last year, it was surprising to see some of the things that people said as far as the direction that they want to take the company. I think one of the things scared me as much as it made me as excited was seeing how many people wanted to see development become a unicorn. And I remember looking at that being like, that's really cool that all those people want that. And at the same time, I was having an anxiety attack because I was like, that's a lot of work. Okay. But we're gonna see. We're gonna give it a shot. So and like you said, that's really steered our roadmap this year. We went for an aggressive growth strategy this year because the people that are part of the company, they want to see that because they know that it turns into more career opportunities. It turns into larger and longer deals, and that allows for the people within the company to make upward movement, within development. So I think that's all stuff that we definitely take to heart, and I think it's really important, especially nowadays. I remember when I was a kid, I was working in a photo shop, and being happy at work was definitely not top priority. It was, show up to work on time, do what you have to do, and that's what you get paid for, right? But I think one thing that I've always realized is that happy employees are productive employees, right? If somebody's concerned about something that's happening with their family or paying their bills, they're not going to be showing up 100% at work because they're going to be thinking about something else, right? So,
Yeah, and it's something really important, and that we don't see a lot in Mexican culture. And this happened to me a couple of months ago. We have a daily bot where we ask you how you're feeling, if you're feeling, I don't know, motivated, happy, if you're feeling stressed. So I had someone that was just a weekend and he put like a stress face. So we approached him like, hey, everything's okay. Can we support you with anything? We really want you to be happy at work. And if you have a lot of uh, I don't know, task or maybe something on your personal life, just tell us. Maybe we can help. And he was like, okay, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And then he talked to his leader and he was like, he told me he just put it to prove us. If we really did something with someone is not happy at work, or we just let it pass. Like, are you putting attention? And he was really happy that we did approach him to see how we can help, and that we really care about them being happy in their work.
Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely 100% agree with that. I think that again, and we're not perfect. I'm sure that like we occasionally let things slip through the cracks, but we try not to. The point is we're trying to get that feedback. I'm a very data driven person, and so I'm very square, like in the box thinking, but we like to know everything that's happening in the company, and that's what down to whether people are happy, if they're sad, if they're stressed, because ultimately that affects a if they're feeling fulfilled at work, um and b whether or not, like, occasionally there's things that we need to step in and help with. And you know a company that's trying to set career paths for their employees, you have to want them to be there a long time, and sometimes that a lot or requires you to assist outside of what would be considered like normal job responsibilities, right? And I think that's one of the things that we always talk about too, is like we have processes but we're flexible, right? If something happens, like, you have to be able to react to the situation as a human being, not just like, oh well, here, let me go open up the playbook and see what it says about this certain situation, because that one size fits all approach, it doesn't work for every situation, right? And so I think what we talk about a lot is we talk about guidelines, right? We don't necessarily have these handbooks that are encyclopedias worth of information, but we have guidelines that we follow, like, hey, in these types of situations, this is probably how we should handle it, but use your best judgment, right? And I think that really speaks to, I mean, right now we're talking about people operations, but that speaks to the self-managed culture that we're trying to promote within the company, right? Which is, um, and I'll say this, like, I probably, what, 4 times a week right now, you probably hear this, but we don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. We hire smart people to tell us what to do. And it completely defeats the purpose of hiring you to be people operations manager if me or Adriana is going to come in and try to dictate and tell you everything that you need to do, right? So talk to us a little bit about that self-managed culture that we're promoting, and how do you think that affects the work that you do, but how do you think that also makes people feel like they're doing meaningful work?
Yeah, well, we really try to motivate everyone to be self-management, and to get that ownership over their activities. And this was like a really big challenge for me at the beginning, because I remember this when I started here. I had a runner asking me like, "How can we do this?" or "How can we change this?" And I was like, "You know what? I lost the practice of that, because in another culture, you give an idea, you are being proactive, and they will shut you down, like, doesn't matter. So here it's something that is really helpful, and people like that, they know they bring an idea, we're gonna look into it, and we wanna try to find out where to make it happen, and that they can take ownership, and they can say, you know what, we're doing this, but I think I found a better way, I'm gonna do it. And that's like really great about it. And just taking that ownership about them, and really knowing that everything they do matters in the company, and it's a important piece. And I think that's really important for them.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important too because, like, yeah, we do have office hours, you know what I mean? Like, we do work Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, but generally speaking, like, it's nice because people don't feel like we're micromanaging them, right? Or at least hopefully that's what they're feeling. That's what we're aiming for, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, look, there's expectations that you're going to get your work done. If you got to run to the bank or something, like, you don't have to ask for permission to do that. Now, if you're asking for permission to run to the bank and you come back next Tuesday from the beach, like, yeah, maybe we need to have a conversation about that, right? But realistically speaking, if you're showing up to work every day and doing your job, if you got to go take a break to take your car to the shop or go to the doctor or hit the bank or whatever, like that's on you. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to sit there and like figure out like, hey, Victor, are you doing your job? Like, no, like because we see that in the stand-ups. We see that, you know, on a daily basis, we see the progress the team's making. So we don't have to go in and dictate that. The other thing too is like, I don't know how you feel about this, but I never like it when somebody else is looking over my shoulder when I'm trying to work. And so by giving them that space, that breathability, sometimes like to solve a problem, like the best thing for me to do is actually get up out of my office and go for a walk and think about it. And like, do I ever miss a beat? No, I'm always available, but maybe I need to get out and change my scenery a little bit, right? So
Yeah, and that helps, and it helps with the transparency, because a lot of people even tell us, like, I'm going to walk my dog, and they send a picture, and that creates a topic, and everyone shares
yeah,
their pets, and that's something cool about it. I mean, we know you're not at work right now, but that doesn't matter. It's okay. You will be back, and you already created a chat on Slack, so that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Well, Karen, we are out of time. Did that go by fast for you?
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Actually, it did.
Yeah, I know it's weird, right? Because when you're like, "Hey, I got to talk for 30 minutes about this topic," there's no way I'm going to come up with 30 minutes worth of conversation. But actually, it goes by pretty quick. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you bringing that topic up. It is something that I know you're passionate about. I'm really passionate about it. I know Adriana's really passionate about it. Thanks to the developers listening in, leaving their feedback. We know you guys are passionate about meaningful work too, and we appreciate it. So, Carlos, would you like to come in and talk to us about what's coming up next week?
Absolutely, Eddie. Thank you, Karen, for being with us. Okay, Eddie, and to this next week we're going to be having a full week. So we're aiming at the whole week
The
is going
whole
to be
thing.
full of the whole thing. Yeah, it's going to be the works. So stay tuned, and we're going to be starting on right here. You see at the bottom. It's on Monday. We're going to be speaking with. Let me get my glasses on, and we're going to be speaking to Ruban Fukan, the CEO and co-founder at the researchfin.ai.
Cool.
And then on Tuesday, the next one is going to be with Richard Purcell, the founder and vice president of sales at Curate. Wednesday, we'll be talking to Shannon Becks, co-founder and board member at Books. And a little parenthesis, Shannon used to be a performer. It was a three ladies a trio. It was called Danity Kane, in case you know it. It doesn't ring a bell. Go to YouTube, you'll find it.
Cool.
So now she's gone the tech entrepreneur path. We'll have her here on Tech Backstage. Then on Thursday, we're going to be speaking to Shampa Bakchi, the founder and CEO of Converge Hub. Finally, on Friday, it'll be with Joe Venuti, the head of sales and development at Cube. So
Cool.
that's what we have right here on Tech Backstage at 11 o'clock in the morning. Don't miss it. And let's see, we have a final comment here from one of the guys, and that is with...
That's Melanie, one of the girls.
Yeah, exactly. There you have it. So you got kudos. You got kudos today. So
awesome.
Ana Karen from your teammates. So thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eddie and Ana Karen. We'll see you next time here on Tech Backstage.
Thanks, Carlos, and thanks, Karen, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
There you go.